discussion on CPEC and SMEs. We know that this is a very huge topic and an economic activity, and we will not be doing justice by inviting such eminent personalities to discuss an important topic within 1 hour. But what we'll try to do is to touch upon some of the basics and the important issues that we are facing in terms of the opportunities that exist for SMEs vis-a-vis CPEC. We have 2 sessions today. One, the first session that we are going to start now focuses on CPEC and the bilateral relationship that exists between Pakistan and China and the opportunities arising from there. Second session will focus on the regional opportunities which will incorporate other economies taking part in this activity with Pakistan. Now our panel consists of people from public sector of Pakistan. We have private sector representation, academia. We have our guest from China who will talk about their perspective and how they see CPEC. Now coming to the topic, primarily it seems that we'll be talking about opportunities, but we pretty much know what the opportunities are, so we need to be discussing how to get there. And what are the untapped potential, what is the readiness level that exists. We will also be touching upon the constraints that we feel are there, which need to be addressed. We'll also be talking about the constraint in terms of their nature of being binding or non-binding. So we'll start with Dr. Jagad Ali Shah, who's head of policy decision division at CPEC Center in Islamabad. We would like to understand what is the policy direction of the industrial and economic cooperation with China in the context of CPEC, especially given that we are now entering into phase 2, which will focus on the economic side of CPEC.
Thank you very much for inviting me to this session. About the policy direction from the government side, and see, first of all, I will just discuss about a little bit about CPEC and the new government priorities also. I think they will set a stage for further discussion also. We have heard too much about the CPEC. We have heard the word game changer so many times. But the new government basically want to label it a bit differently and have also given it a slogan like one corridor, many doors. In one corridor, many doors, the many doors, they are basically trade and market access. We have the industrial cooperation and global value chain integration, which is very important. And third is the socio-economic development, regional connectivity, Gwadar, oil city, and blue economy. So these are basically the different areas where the government is now interested to work in. So many projects have been basically part of the CPEC initiatives, and they are already, but now the government is focusing, reorienting, basically reprioritizing some projects. So they are not changing, but they are only reprioritizing. So the today's discussion is basically the industrial cooperation. So we have the Pakistani government have basically signed the industrial cooperation agreement with China under CPEC. Under this agreement, what the government wants. Let's discuss a little bit about the transformation which is happening around in the region. In China, now before in 1978, before opening up, there was structural transformation in Singapore, in Korea, and basically they call it new industrialized economies. So there are some labor-intensive industries and there are some capital-intensive industries. So at that time, when they were moving forward, what they basically did, they shifted those industries to the developing. And at that time, China was basically in a position to accept those. Exactly the same is happening right now, because China is moving and towards the capital intensive industry, and they will definitely shift the labor intensive industries to some other developing countries. Now we have the CPEC as an initiative, but it doesn't mean that all those industries will come to Pakistan. We need to be prepared for that. So for that, because there are other competing countries like Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, and Cambodia, Vietnam, and even in India also. So now the question is, how can we attract most of those industries into our special economic zones or into our country to benefit from? This basically, the government now is working on that to devise strategies, devise some policies to attract those industries into our country. Why do we need those labor-intensive industry? Why not the capital-intensive industry? Because the labor-intensive industry, we have a huge population, working age population, and we want to improve our exports definitely, but at the same time we want to provide jobs to our population also. And for that we need those industries. So the government focus is basically to provide jobs, employment, and at the same time to reduce the current account deficit, increase the exports. For that we basically want to attract those industries in our special economic zones. So this is basically the overall strategy, overall objective of the government as far as the special economic zones are concerned.
So we'll come back to you, sir. Is the government taking beyond the SECs? That will be next question to you. But before that, we would like to hear views from our other panelists also. Numan Saab, you represent PTCL, and it's very encouraging to know that PTCL has developed a SME development department. So can you share what PTCL is doing in terms of the accessing the readiness level of SMEs and within the context of CPEC?
First of all, thank you to UMT and SMEDA. I must appreciate the support and basically the invitation which I got to represent PTCL, one of the largest incumbent telecommunication and ICT provider in the country. I must say that this is a forum which is very important to be recognized, at the national level, even at the international level. So now, just quickly jumping on what PTCL is doing. So I myself have been associated with PTCL for the last 11 years on different positions. So I have been recently moved as a general manager to head this department, small medium enterprise. So the objective of creating a small and medium enterprise within the PTCL was to just focus on the needs of SMEs. So let me tell you what are the digital and the ICT needs of SMEs. So in that respect, for example, there is a buzzword going on like digital services and ICT needs. So that is very important to address for any SME to evolve in the country to nationwide. You must have those services available. So for that, PTCL has already launched a platform from where we are launching basically SME-specific products and offerings to cater for their needs in a cost-effective, reliable manner. And the customization is the need basically, because for the SMEs to definitely grow up and to flourish nationwide, you need to give them the platform, you need to give them the type of services which are needed for them to leverage their growth in the country, in the nationwide. Definitely in line with the initiatives of different bodies like SMEDA, like UMT, SME banks. So we have internally had a keen focus on SME where we can do the tailor-made offering for the SME, especially in the software and ICT portfolio. So I can talk about it later as well. But just quickly, SME is one of the very important, as many of the speakers already mentioned, that it contributes almost 35 to 40% of the GDP of our country. So there is a huge potential for this segment. So we need to come up with the offerings in this regards, because this forum, especially from the UMT point of view, this is a very great initiative, because you can create products and you can, like, they can work with PTCL, for example, to incubate. We have already done with a lot of incubation nationwide, under National Incubation Center program. So same we can just replicate with the UMTs and provide an opportunity for the students, those they have the ambitions and aspirations to go and lead the entrepreneurship. And this will be basically an opportunity for all of the students, those they wanted to grow and become a potential SME, and even during their student career time, they can also join hand with those SMEs to contribute about their knowledge and the learning. Thank you.
So primarily what we understand is that PTCL, being a major telecom and IT player in Pakistan, is focusing on SMEs and working towards the readiness of SMEs to internationalize themselves. Moving on, Sansad, you've been associated with various research assignments, and you worked on the readiness level of SMEs when you talk about feedback. So we would like to hear your views on whether we are ready to take on that challenge and work on the untapped potential which exists.
Thank you so much for inviting me, and I think what you are asking is very relevant, and I'm very impressed and grateful that SMEDA has organized this conference and is talking about this important topic. But I would want to start with a one-word answer to your question, and my answer is no, we aren't ready. But before I go into a bit more detail, I want to give 3 key messages. The first message is that CPEC is an opportunity. It can be an opportunity for SMEs. But there can be many more opportunities. Digital revolution, digital disruption is another, right? And the SMEs can only benefit from these opportunities if we work on the larger ecosystem and we work on the regulatory environment. And I'm sure a lot of discussion has gone into it. So Iman Saab in the morning also touched upon a lot of areas. So that larger question remains. That first. That's the first message. The second is that when you look at CPEC, my impression is that we have done the easier bit, but the difficult part is still to go. Because when you have a financer, you have a contractor, you have a committed government, doing brick and mortar projects is easier. But when you are working with the private sector and convincing them to relocate and form joint ventures and come here, that's the difficult part. The third message is that the link of CPEC with SMEs is not obvious. So it's not that if we don't do anything and CPEC becomes successful, SMEs would not necessarily benefit. There is a chance that larger organizations and bigger corporates end up getting more benefits until we are very, very proactive in terms of what policies do we choose. So that takes us to the question that if we are not ready, what do we need to do? So again, I would like to address that at 3 levels. The first is the brick and mortar part. When you have companies coming in, they are building roads, they are building energy projects, and you actually engage them through a procurement framework. And if you are, when you look at Pakistan government's procurement framework, for instance, it is not very friendly for SMEs. It favors larger contractors or larger companies. So I think that is one area. If we would have wanted SMEs to benefit from those large projects, that was one area where we could have worked. I think that boat has pretty much sailed, but that's not a problem. The second is the area of SEZs, and one of our colleagues from the CPEC Secretariat mentioned those. And if we want SMEs to benefit from the SEZs model, there are certain examples from around the world. So in some countries, what they do is that they do not limit the SEZs for just the larger firms, they co-locate them. Because if you have a quota for SME and you have bigger companies and smaller companies, it's easier for them to forge business relationships. And then there are other models. You can offer incentives. So once I've talked about investment policy, you can talk about incentives where you are incentivizing a larger corporation to train the suppliers and build their capacity. And the third area would, again, as you mentioned, the market access and the trade access. And this is one area where I think we as a government, as a country, as SMEs need to look at China as an opportunity. Because there are a few advantages. One is the shorter distance, where we can really enhance our food exports. The second is the labor-intensive industry. They have the technology, they have the know-how, and we have the labor. And that's where we can bring them in. And third is the area of joint ventures, where I believe we need to kind of be more innovative and look for complementarities. And we can talk more on these points later. Thank you.
Right. So moving on, Dr. Saab, you've been associated from the academic side and been a consultant to various government organizations, having also worked with the SMEs. So we know that probably SMEs are not fully ready, and the government and the private sector both need to work on this area. But other than that, what do you think, can CPEC help us achieve the untapped potential for trade and economic cooperation with China?
Okay. Now, I don't know, maybe this is my 10th or 15th such conference, I don't know, long list of these conferences. So I'm going to go back to a paper that I presented way back 2 years ago, I think it was early 2016 in Islamabad. You see, the major problem with CPAC is words, words, words. We are living in stratosphere. We are talking in generalities. I think we must ban the use of collective nouns henceforth from all CPAC discussions. You see, and the untapped potential, game changer, joint ventures, collaboration, links, benefits, opportunities, incentives. These are the types of words we are filled. Or distance and access, you see all these. So from a small or a medium enterprise, from a small enterprise perspective, I can tell you, because I have been involved in a couple of businesses myself. So this does not make sense at all. But this is government talk, this is bureaucratic talk, and this is obfuscation talk, this is WTO talk. Talk designed not to be understandable. Typically, you pick up any document of WTO and you will find out that even me with all my PhD and all my technical knowledge, it's hard to decipher even one single page. And that's the biggest problem. So I met a gentleman from China who has been coming over here and from the industry, and he was saying, and now I'll roughly translate what he was saying. He was saying, this is my 50th visit to Pakistan, and I have yet to place a finger on a concrete project. So the problem is we should ban all these general words, and we should come down to very specific. We should tell about X industry, Y product, Z market, and U dollars of revenues, and Z dollar of returns. Unless we come down. Now, so we did a small study in which we just looked at the 10 biggest imports from China and 10 biggest exports from Pakistan to China. Our exports are all raw material. They are like cotton, cereal, oats, salt, rawhides, plastics, food waste, fodder, copper, fish, gums and raisins. All raw material. And what are we importing? Electronics, machines, chemicals, filaments, iron, steel products, plastics, fertilizers and products. These are the top imports. So let's look at a bird in hand. You see, so we are, these collective nouns are the two birds in the bushes. So let's look at the bird in hand. We pick up each one of these 10 exports that we are already doing, which is telling us that there is a market in China for these 10 exports. And we take each one of this. So we should actually no longer use the word industry. We should use the word maybe specific word. Okay, in cereals, what can we value add and send over there? In ores, which ore can be value added and sent over there? So we looked at a few of these industries, like we looked at marble and the potential of marble and these stones and how can they be converted into some finished products and then be sent. So my take on this word opportunity is please remove this use of the word opportunities and challenges. We need to be talking about the specific opportunity. So all I would recommend to SMEDA that instead of talking about, and you see SMEDA itself by its name is again in a general stratosphere of small and medium 90%. So that recalls, that reminds me, you see in the old, I was doing a microeconomics or it was an economics course and there were just two curves and one was this product and then there was this curve which represented all the other products of the world. So the word small and medium enterprise represent that curve which encapsulates 95% of our businesses. That's not the way to do it. We need to specifically focus on particular areas. You see, so small, what do you mean by small? So there was a lot of discussion yesterday. So, and I think of the SMEs, these small ones constitute at least 80% of that 90% that SMEs are supposed to be having. And what do we do with them? You see, we throw away their businesses, we destroy their businesses, and the basic problem which I think, again, if we really want to get the opportunities, is that in Pakistan, unfortunately, if a micro becomes a small and a small becomes a medium, where will it go to? It will go to NAP. So in Pakistan, becoming rich is a crime. In USA, their role models are all filthy rich people like Gates and Bezos and all of those, Elon Musk and others. But in Pakistan, all our rich people are these scumbags and the corrupts. And that. So it is no wonder that our economy is not working. So first of all, if we have to deal, are we willing to see a small enterprise going from small to medium to large in 2 years? What will happen to SMEDA if it supports that?